What's up? Good morning, everybody. Welcome aboard to Trading Live with Bubba. And we got a little action, but still not a lot of volume, which is always a concern. But there is a little bit of action. We'll see if we can pick up a few trades here. So far, so good. They've been hitting them pretty good over day by day. We've been making money, so that's the name of the game. Let's see if we can get anything in here. Just check it out where we are in the longer time frame. Really not much here, as you can obviously see. It's interesting that the volume itself continues to fade away. I mean, look at this action in the S&P. Look at this action in the NASDAQ. You continue to lose volume, even on some heavier moving days. The bigger shock is the lack of action on when the markets go down. There's not really much selling either. So it's a pretty basic market right now with lack of activity. So we'll have to see if we can find some opportunity. Certainly there's something to potentially look at here in crude. And certainly if you want to take a trade here in crude oil, you can. The stop's going to be 68.44. And you get your orders working. You should have an order working 10 ticks above and 120 ticks above. And we'll see what happens there. And the NASDAQ is just sideways. The Dow is sideways. So here we're looking and we're working. Slightly profitable in our trade, but again, obviously we're still in it. So we don't have realized profits yet. But we'll see. And maybe see what it looks like in gold here. Maybe. Nothing too exciting. So while we're waiting, obviously I can see I've got 8 screens, so I can see what's going on elsewhere if I got to switch back, but we might as well look at some of our other potential trades that we would look at. And of course, Apple, really just reaching up to the 200-day moving average. If it gets back to about 230, I would look at selling it. But again, I'm not interested in, there's no real reason for me to get involved here. It did come off the bottom as we thought it might last week. Amazon, again, there's really not much here. This also came off the bottom, which we talked about last week. Now, we didn't make all these trades. I mean, you only make so many. But at the end of the day, recognizing what's available and the reason why you're making trades is always important. Coin, again, we did not have a trade last week. We thought it might be making a bottom, but there was no reason for us to get in. There was no reason to make a trade. And let me just flip back here for a minute, make sure that we're not missing anything here. Our crude trade is about even. There is no other trades showing up here at the moment. That's been the problem for the last, few weeks. Crowd, getting closer to be a sale, but I'd rather see it up closer to 400 before I would look to be doing anything with it. Meta, we talked about last week, should have bounced. It bounced huge. Now there's really nothing more for us to do in that, and it's something to just remember. Again, sometimes there's just nothing to do. Google, which we did make last week, popped beautifully as expected. IWM popped as we expected. Again, are we going to always be right? No. Okay. But again, we're looking for the overall opportunities. We didn't do anything in Microsoft. We talked about it, but we did say that we'd only be buyers, but we had no trades. So MSTR, this would be something to look at a sale. Now, this one you need a pretty big account for. This is a pretty wild, very high volatility. You got to know how to spread it. And certainly, let's just take a look and see what we got and what we can do. Let me just flip this up here real quick. Okay, MSTR. And we'd want to sell some potential call spreads in here. Let's see here. 345, 350. It's about $2. It's something to look at. Again, I'm not all that hepped up. I want to see a little bit more action before I get myself involved in something that is this wild of a trader. I mean, it's certainly, if you're an active trader and you understand what you're doing, it's pretty good. Okay, there's a lot to do, but I don't like to bring you into stuff. If I'm not helping you manage it, I don't like to bring into stuff that's pretty crazy and pretty wild. Our crew is still just sitting around doing nothing. And again, you can see the lack of overall interest in the markets right now. Hey, they're higher. That's a good thing. Because again, I think we're going to get an opportunity to sell them. That's the direction I think we'll be headed. Not necessarily today, not necessarily tomorrow. I think there's still one more big rally coming up here, and I think to watch. Let's just go back here for a minute. You've got the S&P pushing up through its 200-day moving average. So it's important where it closes. Again, the old saying is, the old market theory, bulls trade above the 200-day moving average, bears trade below. The NASDAQ is right at it. Okay, the Russell is well below it, and the Dow is well above it. Okay, so you've got kind of a mixed picture here. But if you look at the bigger picture, there's really not a lot of action. That goes back to the key in the overall market world. Again, we have to be prepared when action comes. And right now we don't have a hell of a lot of action to really get involved in. And again, I'm not going to force trades for you, because again, if I'm not willing to trade them myself, I'm certainly not going to put you in a trade. Nugget, which we did well with last week, came off of 60 all the way down, closed at 58. Now we're running back up again. Again, right now, nothing for me to do, but I'm certainly looking to be on the sell side. NVIDIA, just chopping around in the middle of nowhere. Again, I'd be looking, if it got back to around 127, 128, to sell. The Qs right up against resistance. Interesting spot. I would wait and see how it acts at this 200-day moving average. Again, I'm always going to be more conservative when there's less action going on. Okay. SMCI looks like it's trying to break out of this range here, but again, I'm not interested just to buy it. I don't have a reason to trade it yet. XYZ, which used to be Square, getting close to be a potential sale, but you can see there's not a lot. There's not a lot for us to do either. Okay, and that's important to recognize. The lack of opportunity. Certainly Tesla is something to look at as a potential sale. I did make a trade here that is probably still available. AMD, I sold the 104, 113 call spread for this Friday coming. I sold it for $6.42. If you want to take a short position, that's the put itself was like $4. So I'm basically buying the put for $2.78. So I'm saving quite a bit there. Win, not much going on here, just kind of in the middle. And Zoom, again, this is something that you could look at selling, and I will look at it right now. Let's see if there's something worthwhile here. One of the problems is volatility dries up a little bit, takes away a little bit of the juice. Let's see here. 80. I'm going to sell the 8081 for Friday at 40 cents. Okay. Again, I like to get 40%, 40 cents per dollar. So I'm going to put that in, see what happens. In the meantime, our crude oil is about a 4 or 5 tick loser at the minute. Again, there's not much going on. It's not that exciting. As you can see, there's just a lack of overall action, overall activity in the markets. So at the end of the day, we just have to be patient. I mean, it sucks. I know it sucks, but what else can we do? We have to be patient enough to wait for the trades to appear. And this is my second live trading event of the morning. And on event number 1, we had 0 trades. So, which is unusual, but again, here we are, just kind of sitting around, not doing much, but we'll continue to watch and see. So, and again, we're looking for overall action, overall volume. We're not getting it. We're getting a little bit of pop in crude. You're somewhere close to about even. Now you should be slightly profitable if you took the trade. Again, if you didn't take it, you shouldn't feel bad about it. Never feel bad about making a decision not to make a trade, as long as it's just because you don't want to trade because of the market. I'm going to tell you to go ahead and take your profit now. It's a very small profit, but I'm going to tell you to go ahead and take it. I don't want to hold on to it anymore. I think that it's, again, not worth it. I mean, if you're trading, I'm trading 4 micros with you. On the 4 micros, it was a $20 profit. Okay, again, it's not like we're going to get rich. It's like I could barely go to Starbucks. Okay, but it is another winning trade. And again, it's getting in the habit of getting winning trades and being a part of it. Again, this lack of volume. See, when you get lack of volume, it means lack of emotion. It means there's lack of speed to the market. It means you're not getting other traders to make mistakes, because basically we're trading off of the mistakes of others. Those who chase them or those who panic and puke them, that's who we're trading against. That's who we're looking to pick on and pick off. Okay, and that is the story. Okay. And again, you just have to be patient enough to wait. Again, this was a good sale as it turns out, but it may turn out to be not a good sale. It may turn out to be a great trade, but I can't worry about that. I can't worry about what would have happened. I have to protect at all costs my money and your money if we're trading together. And that's what it's always about. Always about. It's always about money. Okay. That's the end game here, is we're about money. Okay. So we continue to see not much going on, not much to trade, but we'll watch and see if anything changes. I mean, it only takes a 1 4-minute cycle to get into a solid trade. And that's always the issue. Okay. Unfortunately, we have to sit here and be patient and wait. I'd love to get a rally here in crude to sell it. Okay. It's right back to where we got out in the first place. But, again, I'd like to see some action, something that gives us a trade to make, because virtually there is not much really to do. And one of the things you have to be most careful with is when there's a lack of activity, it takes less action to push the market, which, again, it could be pushing it in your favor or it can be pushing it against you. I don't like 50-50 probability shots. I like where I'm a 70% favorite when I make a trade. And that a lot of that relates back to volume itself. Okay. If there's no volume, that means there's no panic, no fear, no nothing, no FOMO. So to me, it makes it harder to trade. Okay. Because I'm not looking for the trades we're looking for should last no more than 4 or 5 minutes. Okay. Unless they're really good and they last longer. Okay. And again, we're not getting that kind of action. You might get something in gold, could be coming up to a potential trade here. So we'll see. And we need the volume to come up to about here. And that's not even great, but it'd be something I would be happy to look at. Okay. That is always something that I would be willing to look at. If again, if it gets to a reasonable level, I'd be happy to look at it. So it doesn't look like we're going to get the gold because it's already bouncing back. Crude is, again, really in nowhere. I mean, in the time we've been together, it's had a massive 11 tick range. So again, I hate to bore you with nonsense, but this is part of trading. This is the hardest part that most people never learn, and which causes failure, is you're not prepared, and sometimes you don't have to do anything. Okay, and sometimes you have to be able just to sit here, and that's what we've done a lot of is sit here. But again, you don't lose anything by sitting here. You continue to look for the opportunities that will arise at some point, and you don't get paid for the amount of trades you make. You get paid for making winning trades. Now, obviously, we'd like to have more trades because every trade we make, we're about a 70% favorite. Okay, so we'd like to make as many as we can, but in conditions like this, you got to tighten in the reins and not make as many, because again, at the end of the day, it doesn't pay to put yourself in that kind of position. And that's always the case in which we have to be very, very careful and very, very aware of what our surroundings are. And again, you don't see much. There's not much in any of the equities. I mean, we found one potential equity trade. So we're really just kind of, waiting it out and seeing if something else will show here. It does not appear so, but it takes one big order to force a panic, and we'll be happy to be prepared to trade that. But again, you can see these volumes are just pathetic. So, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to sit here and talk to you and watch, and probably go out to the golf course, because again, I'm not going to waste time staring at this very, very dull and slow market. It was a nice rally yesterday. Again, we're up again today. Will the rally hold? I'd like to see a good old-fashioned short squeeze. That would be really something that would be something to look at. But again, there's no movement. Even if I could pick the absolute top and bottom, how much money could I make in these short period of time here? Virtually nothing. So again, it goes back to, where are we? How do we make money? And how do we progress? And not much going on. Very quiet. I don't think there's anything that we could actually trade. Maybe we'll get another shot at gold. I don't know. You never know. The markets do not announce themselves. But maybe. I doubt it. But again, we're here. We're ready. We're dressed and ready to play. But right now, there's no game. Okay. So now, if we do find a trade in the next couple of minutes, if you're comfortable, you have to manage it yourself, because I won't be with you to manage it. But I don't think we're going to find anything anyways. But we will see. It does show. You can see that there's no action here in gold. We're not getting the big sell. Okay, we're just getting steady selling. And that's that's not what we're looking for. We want the herky jerky, a big move one way or the other. We don't care which way. We just want it to show up. Maybe crude again. Okay, but I doubt it. You can already see. Normally, you can tell right away if there's going to be some action on that bar, and there certainly doesn't appear to be much action here whatsoever. So. Crude is going to be very iffy. I'm going to pass and tell you to have a great day. I don't see much. I'm not going to waste your money. We made a little bit of money, nothing to write home about, nothing to be excited about. In the meantime, have a great day, everybody. We'll see you back here on Thursday.
You know how the financial world goes. Here comes the buzzkill. Please make sure to take some time to read this boring disclaimer. We will owe you one.